That $650 million letter of intent that has for weeks gripped headlines binds both the government and taxpayers to financial penalties in the millions of dollars. Issuing a purported copy of that document to reporters during a press conference Wednesday afternoon was opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who noted that Clause 8 of the LOI stipulates that each party will bear their own expenses, opportunity costs incurred, if any, and will indemnify the other party from any claims.
A close reading of this clause shows that the document is ambiguous and to the quantum of liability that Mr. Wells may have subjected to the Bahamian taxpayers too, and the conditions under which such financial liability will be assessed. It requires the government of the Bahamas to indemnify the private developers under certain conditions without specifying a limit which could possibly amount to hundreds of millions of dollars. Nor does it provide for exclusive jurisdiction of the Bahamian courts should disputes arise. The Free National Movement is of the view that these very serious questions ought to be the focus of the full legal analysis of the Attorney General.
Dr. Minnis went on to explain the millions of dollars Stellar to Waste Energy and its partner are projected to borrow to fund the entire waste-to-energy project.
On the face and by the very terms of these two clauses of the letter of intent, Mr. Renwood Wells has, in fact, signed an agreement which binds the government of the Bahamas to a contingent liability which could well exceed $40 million if the proposed project, in fact, proceed as set out in Clause 7, but then fails to receive National Economic Council approval. And in the event that the project developer has fully complied with the production of 3 FELS stipulated in the agreement. In short, if the project proceeds and the developer complies, but the government breaks the deal, then the government is liable to pay compensation. In such a case, where the project proceeds, but the government approval is not granted, the government, by this document, may have incurred a contingent liability of up to the amount of the borrowing by the developer if the government fails to approve the signing of a power purchase agreement by BEC.
All this being said, the F.N.M. renewed its call for Parliamentary Secretary Renwood Wells to be fired. The party has also demanded a formal statement from the Attorney General on the issue and transparency from the Christie administration so that potential investors will be assured that their competitors will not receive unfair advantages. The opposition is also calling for a formal rejection of the letter of intent by the National Economic Council and full cabinet without penalty to the Treasury and taxpayers. If the government fails to meet these demands, the F.N.M. says it will push for a general election and the resignation of the government. Greg Smith, JCN News. Greg Smith, Love 97 News.